So we will be covering today on the AWS as we discussed. So what is AWS? Can someone tell me in your words? What is it? Just like a plain text, plain words. Hello, still guys slept or what? Navin, Sunil, Tejaswini, Vijay. What is AWS? Nagraj?
I have no idea. Location.
Azure Web Service.
Web services.
That's it, right? So you guys don't know what is AWS is.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay. So let's discuss now what is AWS and why do we use it. Okay. So since you don't have any knowledge, so let me probably explain it a bit bigger. So you have, let's say, you want to start a company. Okay. So if you want to start a company, what do you need? Tell me. So you needed a office, right? You needed an office to start your address. Okay. And then you need to host your website. To host your website, what do you need? You need a big machine, right? And this machine must have a good CPU, and then it has a good RAM, and also it need a storage. Then only you be able to run your application from this machine. Okay, so let's say this is a physical machine. Physical machine means we have like a bare metal. On top of that, you are going to configure your operating systems and all. So to set this up, everything will cost you some money. So let's say this setup cost you 5 grand. Okay, just to run your application. So what if this machine goes down? What if you want to perform some updates? So you have to take the service down, right? So if you take your service down, what happens? People will not come to you because your application is always down. So that's why you are going to bring another same machine, which additional cost you another 5K. So now you have two machines up and running. Just because you have two machines up and running, that doesn't mean that application always works. So you need to provide 24/7 AC, right? Because machines go heat, and then you need to provide power backup, right? And then you need to provide security. What if someone actually break into your office and broke your this thing? You need to provide internet. Mhm. So these many things you need to provide. Again, this may cost you additional 2K. So now you see 5K, 5K, 10K, one-time investment, but this is every month investment. So overall, for 1 month, you will be putting 12K. So this is good. So you invested money so much. Now what happens? All of a sudden, your application is not doing well. Your business not doing well after 6 months. Now you want to close your business. So if you try to close your business, do you how much these VMs can be sold? So you bought for 10K, now they'll be sold for just 2K. So you loss of 8K, right? And also you paid 2K, 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 which is like 6 months, which is going to be 12K. So you incur 20K loss. 20K loss. And also, since you are the only one guy, so you need to maintain your office, you need to maintain your sales, you need to maintain your marketing, you also need to maintain application. So one person won't be able to do all these tasks, right? So this is why you incur so much of losses. But what if someone else take care of all these? So whatever you have here, the burden, take care of all this. That is what your AWS. So whatever setup you have done here, this is called a data center. Since we have just only one application, 2 machines since it's a data center. But if you talk about company, so company, there will be thousands of applications. So they all run in a one location of data center. So it become a huge data center. Okay, but so this is a bad idea. You see, 20K I am losing after 6 months. So even though my application does well, but still I have to upgrade my VMs, right? As you make progress, because these VMs may be, these machines may become outdated after some time. So that's why to achieve, to avoid this burden, we will take help of AWS. So not just AWS, we take all the cloud providers. We have AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, IBM. These are all the cloud providers. What they do provide is, you said, hey, I just need a machine. That's fine, I have it, take it here. So I'm going to charge you per hour. Per hour, I'm going to charge you $2. Per hour, I'm going to charge you $2. So you don't need to worry about your backup. I'll be taking the backup of your machine. I'll be providing 24/7 AC, power, security, internet to your instance. So what they give you is just an IP address. So based on IP address, you will be accessing your application. Whenever you need to make change, you make it, and then you will be having so much of time to focus on your business and the marketing. Who knows, you may now be successful because you are finding more time. So worst case scenario, if this also doesn't work well, okay, and then you will be paying him money as you use it. So once you're done with the usage, you can say, hey, I don't want to continue, I want to cut down my contract. You just shut down the machine, then you just pay whatever you used it. This is like the cloud providers provide you service. So now your all administration maintenance is no more, and then you pay only what you used for. If you use for 1 month, you just pay for 1 month. That's it. 1 month means like 160 or 160 into 2. That's it. Okay, I mean excluding weekends. No, it's more, right? 750, I think. Yeah, 750 into 2, 1500. See, you made a 2K here, 1500. It's less, right? Maybe I have taken $2 very more, but this is very less actually. It may be like $0.5 something. That's what the cloud is. So again, if you want to store some data, you need to buy a storage also, but here is not needed. They have like a S3, they have like a EBS, all the service provider that you can use. It's ready. You just need to use them, and they charge as you make progress on the data. So load balancing, they do automatically, but here you need to configure your Nginx yourself. If you want to maintain some containerization, they are ready, but again, you need to maintain here. So they will take care of all your administrative activities. Okay. So every cloud providers provides 3 types of services. One is IaaS. Second one is PaaS. Third one is SaaS. What are all these? This is like an infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Okay. The difference is, so if you ask me the difference. So IaaS means infrastructure as a service. It is like a virtual machines. So they give you a VM. So you will be the owner of that VM. So you can do whatever you want. Okay. And the PaaS is like your platform as a service. So let's say DB. They'll give you database as a platform. Then you will be writing the data, and all the maintenance will be taken care by them, like patching, upgrading DB, everything. SaaS, software as a service. So there are various ways, like your EBS or like your ECS, all these. Okay. So if you want me to explain in the real-time scenario, so this is like your MS Office. So you have Word document, right? You have presentations, you have Excel sheet. They are giving you a product. They are giving you a product, then you installing it, you're using it. Have you ever tried to make any changes to the MS Office code, Word document code, Excel code? No, right? But if there is an upgrade, you upgrade it. Why? Because they are maintaining, you are using it. So who owns it? It's under your laptop. If you talk about a VM, it is like a virtual machine only. You will be owning completely. But this SaaS is like a Gmail. You have like a Gmail, right? So have you ever seen where it is stored? Have you ever installed any software? Have you ever seen a database? No. They just provide a service, you use it. It doesn't matter what they have, what they maintain, everything in behind. It's like a bank account. You just deposit. You don't know where it is getting stored, how they're getting stored. Everything is bank will maintain. That's what the service. There are also other services other than network as a service and then security as a service. There are so many things, but these three are the major. Okay. Now let's jump onto our cloud stuff directly now. Okay. So open up. So cloud is going to provide so many services, and cloud has regions. What are these regions is? So these are the locations of the your AWS services where they are available. Why there are so many? Why? Because if you are living in US East, so this has a high speed compared to the one in the Africa. Why? Because it has to travel through the wires, right? But if you use this will be quicker compared to Africa. So that's why they have some nearest location zones where you have famous cities, where you have famous IT spots. Okay, they have Hong Kong, California, Ohio, Oregon. So US has a three, Africa has one, which is in Cape Town. Asia Pacific has these many: Mumbai, Jakarta, Singapore, all this. Canada, it has one, and then Europe, Middle East, Bahrain, South Africa, South America, Sao Paulo. So there are these many regions available, and then every region will have availability zone. What are the availability zone? Availability zone are like your data centers. Okay, so if this is your region, okay, let's say US 1, US East 1, okay, so you have a zones here. This is 1A, they call 1B, 1C, 2A, like that. So why these are availability zone means these are all connected through high network fiber optics. So the latency between these data centers is minimal. So if you are living in a Virginia, okay, if this is a Virginia map, you have data center here, data center here, data center here, data center here. I'm just guessing 4 data centers. Maybe there are 6 here and then here. Why? Because there could be possibility that some part of your Virginia location may not be accessible. Maybe there are so much of riots happening here. There is a curfew, there's a network outage, power outage, right? So if you have availability zone in one data center, if you're a VM running from here, VM1, then you can actually make the same VM up and running from here immediately. Or you can have your VM1 running here, VM2 running here. So both will be running. Your load balancer will route the traffic to this guy or this guy. If this region is down, this VM is down. So, but since it is up and running, your load balancer will send traffic to this guy, which is always running. This is called the high availability. That's why they have multiple availability zones in every region. Okay, that's what the availability zone is. Now let's go into our thing. So make sure that whenever you log into AWS, okay, you choose the one which is nearest to you and make sure that you always select that. Okay, so if you change a different region, you can create a VMs, you can create a resource, but the thing is you cannot see them in one view. Okay, again, you have to go and delete this manually. Okay, so I always pick this North Virginia because of this North Virginia is like latest. So it has all the latest data, latest services accessible. Okay, and you will see most of the services available here in North Virginia because it's a famous. Now let's go ahead and check our services. If you click on the services here, right? So there are so many services cloud offering you. So they have analytics, they have application integration, AR, VR, cost management, their compute. So if you click on compute, these have services, EC2, batch, app runner, elastic beanstalk, so and so. Container technology, Docker, Kubernetes, and container service. Databases, RDS, Dynamo, Aurora, so many. Developer tools, this will work for development like code build, code star, like a CI/CD deployments and all. End user computing, I don't know, front end, web mobile, like app sync, device farm, game development. If you want, if you are really into game, you can also use the services to develop the game. You don't need like a higher GPUs to write your own game. Internet of things, machine learning. You see, all the neural networks, deep learnings, data learnings, everything you can make use of this. They have services. Okay. And then see, there are so many. So if you're into media, you can also use these services. Like you're broadcasting or telecasting something, you can also use this. Migration transfers, like migrating data from on-prem to cloud, you can use this. There are various services, but covering all these services, knowing all these services, are very, very tough. Even not an AWS engineer know all of these services. Why? Because there are hundreds of services. So companies will use what they needed. The media people who are into like news and all, they probably use some of these services. Like Netflix may use these services. They don't use end user computing. Why do they want? Okay, because their business is different. If you talk about Tesla, Tesla might focus on media, this machine learning sections. Okay, so why do they work on the customer enablement, right? That's what the service is. But in our use case, we won't be able to cover all this. We will be focusing on few services which I think it's good to learn. Okay, and whatever I know, I'll be explaining those. Okay, so first I'll start with the compute. In the compute, the first thing you need to know is your VPCs. It is VPC. If I search here VPC, it's isolated cloud resource. So we'll be discussing on the VPC. Okay, so what is a VPC and why do we use this? Okay, so VPC is a virtual private cloud. With me, everyone? VPC is a virtual private cloud. And why we create this? So here I'll explain this. Okay, everybody pay attention. So this is my VPC now. Okay, VPC is nothing but your private cloud that has a range. Okay, they call, you can call them as CIDR, or they call CIDR. Okay, classless inter-domain routing system. This is called the CIDR. So this has a range, IP range. So you have IPs like class A, class B, class C. We'll be having like a class C here. So let's say my IP range is 10.0.0.0.26. What does it mean per? So if you know bit of networking, then you have the subnet mask. So using subnet mask, you divide the IP, you divide this range, you get some number of IPs. Okay, so this VPC contains these many IPs. So CIDR will tell you how many machines you can host in this block. This is called a VPC, virtual private cloud. So machines in this range can talk each other without any issues because they are all like family, one family. Okay, again in this family, you can divide them further. Okay, they call subnets. Subnet 1, subnet 2. So let's say this VPC has 64 IPs. Okay, then I'm going to create two groups with 32 IPs and 32 IPs. They called subnets. Okay, so once you have a subnet, you have a VPC. So machines from here can talk each other. So how do they talk? They have a table called route. This is called the route table. So this route table has the instructions that can say, hey, machines in this subnet, machine in this subnet can talk each other. So you'll be writing a rule here. Okay, that's what the route table is used for. Now this is fine. Now I want a internet. So whatever you have is everything is internal. They cannot go out and nobody able to come inside your VM. They use a private IP which starts with 10. Now you wanted to give its internet access. How do you give internet access? So even though if you get a new laptop at home, do you think you should be able to get the internet immediately? No, right? You need to make a connectivity. You need to connect your Wi-Fi. You need to connect your LAN wire, right? Then only you get the connectivity. So again, same concept here. Cloud providers provide you a gateway that is called internet gateway that is attached to your VPC. Okay, so when you get a laptop, right, you have so many Wi-Fi's listing, but you will choose one and then you hit username password, right? Then only it gets connected. So here the internet gateway is connected, but again you need to write a rule saying that, hey, if you wanted to go to internet, please use this route. So that information will be writing in a route table. Okay, so now I am going to write another rule saying that if any machine from this subnet is asking for the internet, then route the traffic to internet gateway. So we will be writing a second rule. So see, we just only connected one subnet. So one subnet is now having a rule saying that if any machine in this subnet trying to access for the internet, use the internet gateway. This is fine. But what about this guy? I have another subnet. So I don't want to connect the internet. In that case, I need to create another route table and then associate this route table with this subnet. I can have as many route tables as I want. There is no harm. Okay, now you see, if I create a VM here, if I create a VM here, okay, so this VM be able to connect internet and then download the stuff. But how about this guy? This guy doesn't have a connectivity to internet. So here we call this one, the subnet 1 as a public subnet, subnet 2 as a private subnet. Remember, this can be interview question. What is the private and public subnet? The public subnet is the one that can connect to the internet and download the stuff, and we can also connect to those VMs through internet gateway. And the private subnet is restricted, so neither it can go out nor it can nor anyone can log into the VM in this subnet. So why do we use public and private subnet? Because public subnets are meant to be accessible by the customers, whereas private subnets are meant to secure the data that is confidential. Because if everyone have access to this subnet, they can see the data and they can hack it. That's why we keep them in a private subnet. So we call this public and we call this private. Clear? Public, private. Any doubts on this? Hello.
Hello.
It's clear, Lokesh.
Clear, right? So VPC, subnet, subnet. So this subnet, you can decide how many, this VPC when you're creating, based on your usage, you need to create. Let's say you wanted to start a big, very big company. So you can have 1,000 IPs at 5,000 IPs range of CADR because you need those many machines, right? But if you are running a small company, you don't need that much of big. You can create a small one. Okay, now this is fine. Now, but you have a VM1, VM2 here. So VM2 needs some internet access. VM2 need from internet access. Why? Because it want to download some stuff. How can you provide? So if you attach to internet gateway, then anybody is able to access your VM. There's a chance of hacking. But how can you protect that your private subnet can able to download the data, but nobody is able to enter? So internet gateway is two-way. It allows inbound and outbound. But this guy, I just need an outbound, not the inbound. In this case, what we need to do is we need to take help of NAT gateway, which is like a proxy. Okay, so I'll be creating a NAT gateway service in my public subnet. And this one has also IP. And then I'm going to write a rule. This is like a local and then another rule. What the rule I have written is here. If anybody from the private subnet asking for internet to download some stuff, route it through the internet gateway. So it's a NAT gateway. Now what I meant is, so private VM is asking to download some stuff from internet. So the first says local. Are you going to connect local? No. Then next rule. What is the next rule? Are you trying to connect internet? Yes. Then you have to go to NAT gateway. Then NAT gateway receives the request. Hey, it looks like VM2 is asking for some internet. That's fine. I can go and request for you. So this NAT gateway then send a request. Now this subnet, so NAT gateway is in public subnet, and this public subnet has this route table. This route table has two rules. So first rule is a local. So are you, hey NAT gateway, are you requesting local service? No. Okay, first rule failed. The second rule, are you going to internet? Yes. Okay, I'll send you to internet gateway because you are authorized. You are coming from public subnet. It goes out and get the data. So while it get the data, NAT gateway receives it and then give it back to the VM2. It is like a proxy. So like like if you talk about a girls, okay, now the girl wanted to drink a beer, okay, so but if the girl goes out, everyone sees her, right? So she feels ashamed. So now what she say? She informed her friend, hey, can you please go and get the beer? So it's the same. So VM, there's a girl sitting in private, asked for the beer. So the NAT gateway receives it. Hey, you want a beer? Okay. NAT gateway goes out. This NAT gateway has an IP address also. So people who are sitting like seller or the hackers here, so they see NAT gateway requesting for the access, right? They try to hack NAT gateway, but the NAT gateway receives the data and give it back to your VM, your girl. So person who is selling the liquor, he can only see the NAT gateway, who is a guy, so he can give it. But every world sees NAT gateway, but when the NAT gateway enter the house, the beer will be given to the girl. Data will be given to the backend guy. So whole world knows NAT gateway is requesting data, but in behind your VM is accessing it. This is like a proxy. We call it forward proxy. Got it? So this setup will be doing it in our examples now. We set up a VPC, we configure subnets, we configure routes, we configure internet gateway, and update the route tables. Okay, so everything will do it. Any doubts before you going into the practicals?
No, Lokesh.
All right, so subnet clear, internet gateway is clear, route tables clear, private subnet clear, CIDR clear. I did say yes or no, maybe that makes me a bit happy.
Yeah, it's clear, Lokesh.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our CIDR. So before creating CIDR, I'll give you a easiest way that you can actually, yeah, here. If you go to the site 24, right? So you can provide your range. Okay, so here, so he said 10 dot. So if I create this, okay, so 10 dot 0.0, I say slash 12. So slash 12 is going to give me these many IPs. You see, it is like close to 1 million. So the start, how many subnets you want? You want like one subnet, this is the range. If you want like 32 subnets, So every subnet gets 32,000 IPs. This is subnet 1. It starts from 10.0.0, okay, ends at 127.256. A second subnet 128 ends with 255, 254. So it's a very big. So let's take it smaller. You can easily understand. I'll use 26 here and see. Okay, so slash 26 is giving me 64 number of hosts. So one subnet. Now I said I want two subnets, right? One is private, one is public. So in that case, I need to use my CIDR will be this 10.10.00/26, and my subnets will be the first subnet number 10.10.00/27. I think yeah, 27. So my start here and the end here. So every subnet you have two IPs are gone. They're not usable. One is to identify your subnet. Second one is broadcast address. So this is the only range you could use. So technically you will have 30 VMs can be launched. So starting from 1 to 30. Then second subnet, you see 31 is ended. Now next subnet started IP 32. Ended 63. So overall from 0 to 63, you have 64 IPs divided into two subnets. So if you want to make it 4, you can also make it 4. But every subnet gets 16 IPs, 4 subnets. Okay, so first and the last IPs are gone. You get technically 14 IPs, 14 IPs, 14 IPs, 14 IPs. So you can launch 14 machines in this subnet. So based on your usage, you need to work it on. Okay, so I'm going to create a VPC like this. So I'm going to go to your VPC, create VPC. So VPC only. I'll probably give like yeah, my this is demo, right? My demo VPC. Manual input. You are going to give the IP 10.10.0.0/26. Okay, this is what I gave you here, right? Yeah. And then no, we don't use IPv6 default tenancy. So don't choose dedicated. If you choose dedicated, they'll charge you. Dedicated means you will be having like a one host, and then that will be assigned to you so that all the VMs will be spun up over there. Tags I created. Now I am creating a VPC. You see my VPC is created. This is my CIDR, CADR. Okay, so if you go to route table, you will have one route table created. So this is like if you make this big, my demo VPC, one route table created by default. You see main as yes. Main as yes means is a default one. If you don't tag it, then this will be used by default. That is fine. So now let's go to our subnet. I go to subnet now. These subnets already available because they are tied to this VPC. See, starting from 172. This is created by AWS. Okay. Now I'll create my own subnet. So in which subnet? My demo VPC. I'll be choosing my VPC. Subnet 1. You see, they suggest the name my subnet 01. Why? Because so if you see availability zone, you select, see this east has 6 availability zones. Okay, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and F. So you choose availability zone, which is 1A, then you give the name here, like my subnet 1A. So if you want to make this as a public, you can also add a public 1A. Okay, and then what is the range? So I want 2 subnets. I'll break this to 2 here. 27 I need to use. This is my starting subnet address. So I copy this guy and then paste it here and then 27. That's it. If you want to add the name, you can add the name. You can create one more subnet also. I'll save this. You can see that. So subnet got created. This is pointing to my demo VPC. I can also create another subnet. So again, I choose availability zone is different, 1B. So I'll give my subnet that is like a private 1B. Okay. Now range. The range has to be start from here. Okay. Let's try to give this IP and see what happens. Okay. I give this IP /27, right? So and then let me create it. So it says error. Why? Because this IP is already taken by another subnet. See, this IP is part of this subnet and we already created. That's why it is failing. So now we need to use this starting address, just like 32, and then create it. See, it got created. So now I have two subnets. Now what is the next? If you create a machine, you can create a machine in this one of these subnet, but they won't be able to connect to any internet. Neither we can able to log into these servers. Why? Because there is no internet gateway, right? So let's create an internet gateway now. I go to internet gateway here, create internet gateway. So this is like my demo VPC IGW internet gateway. Make sure that you give a proper name whenever you create a resource in the cloud. But this way you can easily understand. I created internet gateway now. This is my created. You see state detached. You just created but not attached it. So now I'm going to attach this. You see attached VPC here. So which VPC you want to attach? This VPC. This is not the one. Yeah, my demo VPC, you see. And then attach internet gateway. It is attached. So now I have a VPC, two subnets, and then internet gateway attached. That looks good to me. But now what is next? So if I create a VM, do you think I should be able to get the internet? No,
No.
because we need to update our route tables, right? So this is a route table. I'll go to the routes. Okay. So this route has a local rule first. Local means by default, any virtual machine from this range can talk each other. That is what the first rule is. Now I want to write for internet. I go to edit routes, add a route. So internet means 0000 this. I mean any IP address. So first, if the target is in this IP address, use this rule. If target is in this range, then use this rule. So what is the target? Our internet gateway, this one. Then save changes. So now you have two rules. One is local, second one is internet gateway. Got it? So this rule first gets executed. If it doesn't find the target in this range, then this will be used. Now we got internet gateway, we updated the route. So if you look at the subnet association here, so by default, these two are here. Okay. And this route table, which I said main as yes, this will be used by default. But if you don't want two subnets to use this, rather you want to separate it, then you need to create a new route table. I create a new route table. I call them as a public. Okay, my demo, sorry, VPC private route table RT. Select VPC, my demo VPC, create route table. So you go to the route tables now. Let me rename this thing also. This is for the public now. So my demo VPC public, this is a route table. So public means this has an internet gateway. This should not have internet gateway. So now I am going to write a rule here. I go to the routes, sorry, subnet association. I edit subnet association. Then I'm going to choose my private one and then save the changes. So now what happens? I explicitly assign a subnet to this route table. This means any IP address from this subnet range, which is like a second subnet, then use this route table. And this route table has a route only one. There is no internet gateway. If I choose a default main as yes, So this guy doesn't have any subnet associated. However, it says main as yes is a default one. If any subnet does not find any association in the route table, then this will be considered for the default for this VPC. So that's why this will use internet gateway. But this subnet is not, which is a second subnet. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the VMs and see in action. So what we have done so far is this. So we created a VPC, okay, 2 subnets. There is one default route table available, and we attached internet gateway. Okay, so we created another route table. We explicitly associated to this, and then we have added a route to this internet gateway. So this is called the public, and this is called the private. This is like a default. Default is like a default route table. So if there is any subnet is not associated explicitly, then it follows this. However, this subnet follows these rules. Okay, this is what we have done so far. Now let's go ahead and create a VM here and VM here. 2 VMs. Okay, I clear the table. Sorry, clear the drawings. Now I go to my EC2. Come on, why is it so slow now? So I want to create my public VM. Okay, and then I choose like a Red Hat Linux, and then FreeTide eligible, T2 micro. The key pair will be my laptop, and then yeah, I'll choose a separate security group. Okay, I'll choose like a Launch Wizard 4, and then advanced details. Now that's it. So now, okay, I need to change the VPC. I forgot. You see, that is the main thing. Networking setting, it is using default, but now I wanted to use my VPC. I select here VPC. It says default, but not. I want my VPC, my demo VPC. Okay, I selected subnet. So since it's a public machine, I need to choose which subnet. I will be setting in my public. I chose a public here. Auto assign public IP, because you need a public IP if you want to access your machine. Okay, then I'm going to say enable here. That's it. It says the security group is not compatible. Yeah, because I chose a different VPC now. I choose the default one, or we can create a new one also. Okay, create new security group. I'm going to give a name to this as my demo VPC SG. Okay, SG. So I can also add this as the same description and then launch. So VM is getting created. Let's also create another VM. Okay. My private VM, same Amazon Linux, same free tier, T2 micro, key pair is this, network edit. I want to choose my VPC, my demo VPC here, and then my private subnet. Auto assign, you can enable or disable whatever you want. I enabled it. So I'm going to choose the same security group that we created. Okay. And then all good. Let's go ahead and start it. Okay, so I have 2 machines running now, which is like my public, my private. So now let me go ahead and access my public IP. So this is the public. See, the IP has got, I guess, 10, 10, 0, 13. So if you go back to your site, this is my public subnet. The IP range will be between this 1 to 30. I got the same one. You see, 1 to 13 between. One of the IP will be picked up from the subnet. See, now I'm able to got the internet. Now let's try the same thing with this machine also. The one in private subnet. I copy the public IP. Okay. I exit from here. SSH EC2 user. See, it is not even going. Why? Because your VM is protected. Nobody is able to access it. That is called the private subnet, private VM. The reason why we use private subnet is so the databases shouldn't be in the public, because database contains all the information. If you talk about, if you take example of Bank of America or Chase Bank, so you will be having your account information. So if you put them in a public and the hackers do some all the malware programming and then get attack your database, they can steal your account information, how much money you have in your account, right? That's fine. Now that is fine. Now how I can access this? How I can access my private machine? So remember, in our example, I clearly mentioned that this is your VPC, okay? This route table and this route table and this subnet and this subnet. The first rule is a local. So local means any machine in this CIDR range can talk each other with a local connectivity. So if I have a VM here, if I have a VM2, so I can connect from this guy to this guy because they are all local. But me, who is sitting in my home with my laptop, I cannot connect because there is no internet gateway connected to this VM, right? Why? Because there is no internet gateway. But the machine, if I am here, I can connect because they are local. So now what I'm going to do, I log into this machine and then log into this server. Okay, that is how I can do. So to do that, let me log in to my public machine first. I'm going to generate a key. What is the command to generate a key? Can someone remember?
SSN keygen minus the RSA.
Good job. SSN keygen minus T RSA. There you go. I got my key created because my public machine needs to talk to private machine, right? So I'll be using my public machine's key to talk to my private machine. That's why I generated this. So I'm going to copy .ssh idrsa.pub. Okay, I copied this public key now. I am going to import it into my key pairs. Key pairs. So this is like public EC2. Okay, and I copy this key here. Done. So public EC2 key is ready. Now I go back and then I'm not quite sure. Do we have an option to load the key here? So instance state, action, terminate, instance settings. I'm just checking whether we have an option to store, load this key, new key. Networking, attach, manage IP address, change security. No, image template. Yeah, it's not there. So I'll be creating a new machine then. Launch an instance. This will be like my private 2 VM, same Amazon Linux, T2 micro. Now I choose my public machines, key pair here, settings, subnet. I need to choose my demo VPC, and the subnet will be private subnet. Security group, you can choose existing one so that you don't need to create multiple. Then I forgot to select the public address. That's fine, but we don't need public address. So let it get created. See, my private machine is ready and it has 36 IP address. So as per my private range, it should be between this 36. One of the IP it picked up. So now I'll copy my private IP. Okay. Now I have logged into my public VM. Okay. I do SSH EC2 user at this guy. It says yes. See, now I am in 36. I was 13. Now I logged into private IP. So now this is what the patient host means for. So patient host means, so if you want to access your machines in private zone, how you can access? By using a patient host, or you can using a jump box. So jump box is accessible from the internet. You log into that box first. From there, you log into your private machines. Okay, that is the main reason. So now I logged into the machine. Now I want to install something. Okay, let's try to install something. Sudo yum install nginx -y, and see, it is not going. It's stuck there. Why? Because this private, okay, this private VM is part of subnet private. Okay, if you go to the route tables here, it will be in VPC. So if you go to your route table, okay, so your private subnet is associated with the route table, which is private, that doesn't have the internet access. See, this subnet, which is a private, is associated with this route, and this route does not have the internet connectivity. Come on, what is happening? It does not have any route. There's a reason why it is not working. But now how I can allow the access? But if I attach another route as internet gateway, then anybody is able to access my machine, right? It was the issue. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a NAT gateway now. So I'll create the NAT gateway. Where is NAT gateways here? Okay. Create NAT gateway. So my demo PPC NAT gateway in GW. So remember, the NAT gateway should be in a public subnet, okay, not in the private. So this is the public. Why? Because NAT gateway must have access to internet, right? And the subnet that has a internet gateway access is a public subnet. So that's why it has to be a public. This could be an interview question. They say, so shall I create my NAT gateway in private subnet? You say no. The NAT gateway must be created in a public subnet that has the internet gateway route. Okay. So it says connected type, public or private. So I just chose the public here. Okay. So I think I can use a private also. Okay, the private NAT gateway cannot reach the internet now. I think I want public. Okay. You see IP address. You can allocate one IP address. This is like a public IP that you're assigning to your NAT gateway. And then create NAT gateway. That's it. It will take good amount of time. So we'll wait for some time while it comes up. So whatever we have covered so far, do you guys have any questions? Or understood the concepts? PPC, subnets, internet gateway, NAT gateway, routes, route tables.
Yes, Lokesh.
How about others?
Yes, Lokesh.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be like interactive, guys. That makes me like interesting. Otherwise, like it will be bored, right? Just say yes or no, maybe.
Yeah.
You need to keep me like engaged. Then I'll get interest to say, explain more.
Hi, Lokesh.
Because
Someone is asking for password in group.
password?
Yeah, he
No
was
password.
trying to join to Zoom call, but he was saying that it was saying on wrong password or something.
No, it doesn't
Rohan,
ask the password.
I
Ask
think
him to link. Ask him to use a link. It has already password in it.
okay.
So by the way, so see now he's getting joining. So just wanted to check with you guys. So I see everybody is like speak Telugu or they don't speak understand Telugu here. Like Nagaraj, I know Telugu. Naveen's I don't know Naveen.
Yeah, he's also Telugu, and
Tejaswini
probably Telugu.
I know Telugu.
does know everyone. I mean, who doesn't know?
No one, everyone knows Telugu, I guess.
Okay. Because the thing is actually, so if you all know Telugu, then I can explain in Telugu. But
No,
actually,
no. You can explain in English only, Lokesh.
Okay, sure. Because I can guarantee that with Telugu, you will be more like I'll be cracking some jokes over there, then you will may feel interested, engaged. That's fine.
Okay.
So
Jokes you can crack in Telugu, but these all are in English.
okay, fine, no problem. See, now I got the internet gateway here, right? Sorry, NAT gateway here. Now let's go ahead and connect it. We got NAT gateway. Let's give it a try now. Does it work? Nope, but still stuck there. We just create NAT gateway now, right? But still not
You have to
working.
create a rule to connect to NAT gateway.
Exactly. Just creating the NAT gateway doesn't work. We need to update the route tables. So you go to the route tables here. This is my private route. You click here and then go to the routes and then add a route here. So where you want to go? Internet. Which one do you want? Now I want to use NAT gateway. So it got NAT gateway, save changes. So route is updated. Now if I give a try, this will run like a, see, it got downloaded. That is how you actually perform a connectivity to the private subnets. Internet gateway, NAT gateway. You got the difference now? People ask interview question. What is the difference between internet gateway and NAT gateway? Internet gateway is like a internet connectivity attaching to a VPC. So whichever route table has a route added, it can go out the internet and people from the internet can also come in to access their VMs. Whereas NAT gateway is like a forward proxy. So where the machines in private subnet can use a NAT gateway to download the stuff from the internet. That's the difference. Okay. So now let's see what else we have. So subnet, internet gateway, NAT gateway is ready. Now let me discuss about yeah, let's go to VPC back. Yeah, it's VPC only. So now we did all this, right? Now let's talk about pairing. What is the VPC pairing? So VPC pairing means, so you have your VPC here, okay, which is starting from the 10 dot series, okay, and here you have another VPC here, okay, which is starting from 172 something. So these two VPC belongs to one account. This is your account has two VPCs. So you are a company and you have two different data centers. Now you wanted to have the machine from this data center can talk to this data center. How can you do that? You need to establish a connectivity. Why? Because this has a different CIDR range. This has a different CIDR range. So you need to marry these two. This is called the pairing. This is called the VPC pairing. Okay. So VPC pairing means marrying these to each other. So now when you do the pairing, the machines from this range can talk to machines from this range. That is what the pairing is using this private. But if you don't have a pairing, then how you communicate across two VPCs is you will be having a subnet, which is like a public, okay, and then it has a VM. Even here you have a subnet that is like a public and it has a VM. And this VM has their own public IP addresses, internet gateway. So you go out to internet and then enter here. This is like your internet. See, you know that you both are belong to same family, but still you are going out of your network using internet. Again, you're entering. So you are unnecessarily losing the bandwidth and also risking your connectivity. If you go out to internet, there's a chance that people might be trying to capture your network packets, right? So that's why you don't use this route. You will be using pairing. The beauty is if you go to internet, you pay for internet gateway money and then internet gateway money. But this is no cost because you are using a private channel there. Okay, that's what the pairing is over there. Now let's do the same thing here. Now already I have two VPCs here. So if you go to your VPCs, I have two VPCs. This is the one I created and this is the one that VPC maintained, which is 172 series. Now let's pair these two. So I'll go to VPC pairing connections, create pairing connection. So who is requesting? So you can say like my demo VPC to default one, like default they created. So I want to request from my demo VPC. Okay, you want to connect between your same account or multiple account. You want to connect same region or different region. So since I both have in same, I'll choose this same VPC ID. So which one you want to connect? This one. This is my source. This is my target. Okay, and then create the pairing. So once you create the pairing, a network gets established. It doesn't get established immediately because your target VPC, whoever you're requesting, they have to approve it because they maintain it, right? So since you have these two in your account, you can see it here itself. This is a pairing request. You can select and then accept the request. If it's a different account, the person having different account, they have to accept this request. See, now it's active. So now the machines between two different regions can talk each other. So this is the VPC and this is another VPC. Now pairing is there. So remember, just because we have the pairing is established, it will not work. Why? Tell me someone. I give an example. So you have VPC, you connected internet gateway. Do you think it will work immediately? So even our NAT gateway, we create NAT gateway, but it did not work the internet immediately. Why?
The rule is missing in the route table.
Exactly. You need to update routes because you need to have every rule for a network connectivity, right? So that's what we use it. So now I am going to update my route table. Okay. So let's go ahead and update my route table. I'll go back here. So I'll go to like my route tables. So my source is this, right? So I'll be using my I'll use my public. Okay, I have a public. I add the route, edit routes, add the route. So do we know our VPC CIDR range? I did not take it. Let me take another window here. So you can also configure the route for per IP also. So since we did the pairing, I'm just going to take the entire CIDR range here. Come on. That is so slow. So this is my default. This is the CIDR range, right? I'll take this and then target where you want to go, destination in this range. Okay, which one you wanted to use? I wanted to use the VPC pairing connection. Which VPC? My VPC. You see PCX. Save changes. So now what the rule says is, if you are trying to connect this 10.10.00, then use a local route. If you are trying to connect an IP that has 172.31, then use this route. So other than these two, if you are trying something else, third rule, use this connectivity. This is the order it goes. Now we added the route. Let's go ahead and create a VM in our other VPC. Okay, so I'll probably use here. I mean, it will work, but if you wanted to see the demo, I'll create it. EC2 here. Launch instance. Yeah, done this. I'll close this guy. So I would say my default. Okay, I use same Linux. Instance type is. It is not popping up. It should pop up immediately. Okay, I use the same free service. Key pair. I'll use my public IPs key pair. And the network, it is default. You see, I'm not changing anything. It will pick up default one. Okay. Rather, I'll choose a different security group here, which is Launch Wizard 4. Done. Everything is same. Nothing is changed. I can actually disable the public IP also. I'm disabling the public IP. I'll be using my private. That's it. I create my instance. View instances. So this is my default VM, which is coming up 172.31.93.184. It's a private IP. Now let's wait for this machine to come up. Now let me go back to my public machine. This is my public, right? Yes, I have this. Let me see for this thing to come up. Yep, this is up. Let's now copy this one. Give it a try. SSH EC2 user, add this guy. Oops, it's not working. It's not going. Why? We added the route tables, right? You want to check? Let's go and check. Go to VPC. Come on. So route tables. This is my public, right? So it has the route. Tell me why it is not working. As I told you, every subnet must have the route table if it is not the internet. I added this at the source. How about the target? Even target also has a route table. Does it has a route here? No. So target, I need to also add the route. Okay, I'm going to add the route here. So who is your destination? It will be 10.10 dot what IP we have given 0.0/26, I think. And then I need to use like a pairing connection, which pairing PCX. Save changes. Now I have the route. Now let me give a try now. See, it went fine. See, now I am into 172. Clear? So just because you are adding the route table in the source doesn't mean it will work. It has to be done at the target as well, because without any proper route rules, it will not work at all. Okay, that's what. So if you are a Linux administrator, you may probably using like some route command to see all the routes here. Okay, but I also don't know much, but I use this table. Okay, it said so. This is like any use this guy, all this and all. So that's about your VPC pairing. So you generally don't do all these in companies. Okay, so this will be done by the network administrator. They'll call network security team, because this pairing, this connectivity, this controls requires good amount of knowledge here, because a small mistake we do with the routes or the configuration, the entire company is take at risk. Okay, but in interview some people ask these questions, so make sure that you be prepared. What is public subnet? What is private subnet? What is NAT gateway? What is internet gateway? What is route? Okay, you clear?
Lokesh, do you
Mhm.
provide question and answers for interview?
No,
Okay.
I don't have, but I'll be covering this in the class itself. Like
Sure.
whenever I see there's a scope for interview question, I'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what about our VPCs. So do you guys have any doubts?
Lokesh, can you ask anyone wants to explain in Telugu? Because I said I want in English, but I don't know everyone's. Right?
That's fine, no problem. But the only thing is, if I explain in Telugu, probably I'll make it more like engaging. That's it. Apart from that, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have these route tables, subnets, VPCs. Any doubts? Cleared? No clear?
Guys, anyone want to explain in Telugu?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
సో మీకు చెప్తున్నా, ఇదిగో ఇది విపిసి అంటే మన ఇల్లు లెక్క. ఓకే, ఇది వచ్చేసి మన రూమ్స్, బెడ్రూమ్, మాస్టర్ బెడ్రూమ్ అన్నట్లు. దీనికి పోవడానికి రావడానికి ఒక పెద్ద ద్వారం, ఇదే ఇంటర్నెట్ గేట్వే. దీని ద్వారానే మనం బయటకు వస్తాం, బయటికి పోతాం, లోపలికి పోతాం. సో ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు యాక్సెస్ చేయాలి అంటే గనక యూ నీడ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఎ రూల్. సో పెద్దలు ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు బయటికి వెళ్ళొచ్చు. పిల్లలు who are like a less than 1 year 2 years kid, వారు అలో లేదు కదా. దట్స్ వై we have a new route. సో పిల్లలు బయటికి పోకూడదు అన్న రూల్ మనం పెట్టేసాం ఇక్కడ. ఇక్కడ పిల్లలు కాకుండా వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవరన్నా ఉన్నా వాళ్ళు బయటికి వెళ్ళొచ్చు, ఎందుకంటే దట్ ఈస్ ద రూల్ ఐ హ్యావ్ యాడెడ్ హియర్. సో పిల్లలు, డూ దే హ్యావ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అవుట్ సైడ్? నో, టెక్నికలీ రైట్, దే డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ ఫ్రెండ్స్. బట్ పెద్దలకి ఉంటారు. సో అందుకే యూ హ్యావ్ యువర్ ఇంటర్నెట్ హియర్. సో పీపుల్ విల్ హ్యావ్ హియర్ పబ్లిక్ ఐపీ అడ్రస్, ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళు బయట తిరుగుతారు, అందరూ కలుస్తూ ఉంటారు కాబట్టి. సో పీపుల్ కెన్ రీచ్ హియర్. హే తేజస్విని, I want to talk to you. Ante Tejaswini can respond because she's elder and she know how to talk, what to talk. How about the kids? Kids don't know. If kids goes out, they will be kidnapped, right? That's why you protect it. Okay. Now, but still, your kid also needs some food. Wallu, they want to eat something. Do they go outside and buy something? No. They will ask the elder, house of the family. And this person who is in this public, హ్యాస్ యాక్సెస్ టు ఇంటర్నెట్. సో ఆయన బయటికి వెళ్తాడు, తీసుకొని వచ్చి మీకు ఇచ్చేస్తాడు పిల్లలకి. ఆయన చాక్లెట్లు కొన్నా, బిస్కెట్లు కొన్నా, ఏం కొన్నా అందరు ఏమనుకుంటారు, ఏ పెద్దోడు తీసుకోపోతాడు అనుకుంటారు. బట్ ఇంటికి వచ్చేసరికి పిల్లలకి ఇచ్చేస్తాడు. అది నాట్ గేట్వే. అంతే, సింపుల్ టర్మ్స్. VPC, people who are living in the family, they can talk each other as a by default. బట్ పెద్దలకి సెపరేట్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ ప్రివిలేజెస్, దే యూస్ ఇంటర్నెట్ గేట్వే, ద ముఖద్వారం. తర్వాత చిన్న పిల్లలు బయటికి వెళ్ళరు, బట్ దే విల్ బి ఇన్ ద హౌస్ ఓన్లీ. ఇఫ్ దే నీడ్ సంథింగ్, if they want to eat something, they'll ask the parents and the parents get it from outside. The people who are living outside, they can knock the door, say, hey, I want to talk to you, and the elder can respond. But kids don't. Why? Because they can be hacker, they can steal your kids. Anduke we have this set up properly. It's a small. ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఫ్యామిలీ ఉంది, యూ ఆల్సో హ్యావ్ అనదర్ ఫ్యామిలీ, యువర్ బ్రదర్స్ ఫ్యామిలీ. వాళ్ళు కూడా సేమ్ సెటప్ కదా. సో వాళ్ళకు కూడా పిల్లలు ఉంటారు, పెద్దలు ఉంటారు, వాళ్ళకు కూడా ఇంటర్నెట్ గేట్వే కూడా ఉంటుంది, ద్వారం ఉంటుంది. వాళ్ళు పిల్లలు పెద్దలు, దే ఆల్సో హ్యావ్ సమ్ రూల్స్ హియర్, రైట్? బట్ వీళ్ళు మాట్లాడుకోవాలి అంటే ఎలా? సో దే హ్యావ్ టు గో బ్యాక్ అండ్ కమ్ డౌనా? లేదు, సిన్స్ దీస్ టూ ఆర్ సేమ్, దే కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ టాక్ ఈచ్ అదర్. అంటే పక్కింటి అనమాట, పక్కింటి వాళ్ళు. సో యూ విల్ జస్ట్ లిఫ్ట్ యువర్ బ్యాక్యార్డ్ డోర్ అండ్ దెన్ యూ ఎంటర్. సో ఎంటర్ వెళ్ళాలి అంటే యూ నీడ్ టు క్రియేట్ ఎ కనెక్టివిటీ. సో యూ విల్ బి క్రియేటింగ్ ఏ బ్యాక్ డోర్ ఎంట్రన్స్. లైక్ మన బ్యాక్యార్డ్లో డోర్ ఉన్నట్టు ఆ డోర్ ఓపెన్ చేసేస్తాం, కనెక్టివిటీ. జస్ట్ బికాస్ డోర్ ఉన్నంత మాత్రాన అగైన్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఎ రౌట్, రైట్? ఓకే, వీళ్ళు పక్కింటి వాళ్ళు, సో పక్కింటి వాళ్ళు మన ఇంటికి రావచ్చు అని మనం తెలుసుకోవాలి. ఇక్కడ రూల్ రాయాలి. సో వీళ్ళు రావచ్చు, బట్ వీళ్ళు వెళ్ళొచ్చా? వీళ్ళు వెళ్ళాలన్నా సరే రూల్ రాయాలి మళ్ళీ. ఓ ఈ ఇంటి వాళ్ళు వచ్చినా కూడా డోర్ ఓపెన్ చేయి అన్నట్లు. ఇది మన ఓవరాల్ సెటప్ ఆఫ్ VPC. క్లియర్? సో try to practice. This is really important. Okay, so you should be in a position to set up your own VPC with own subnet, own virtual machines. You need to first try to troubleshoot the error first, make the error first, and then fix it. By that way you learn more and quick, and remember more also. Okay, there is another one which I want to discuss is this endpoint services. So endpoint services means, so let's say you have your VPC here, right? And you have here another service called S3. So these two belongs to your account only, and your account means they're all under your umbrella. Okay, so if you want to connect from this VM to this S3 service, okay, so what you need to do, you need to go out of your network using internet gateway and then come here. That is called the internet through accessing your data. So since you are in same account, you have two different resources under same umbrella, why do you want to go out and come in? So you can use like a connectivity, that is called the endpoint services. So from here, rather than it is going out, it can just connect. This is nothing but you have your own house, you have your garage. So garage and house both are connected. So if you want to go enter the garage, you have to go out of your house and go to the garage door and then enter. It's like a pain, right? But if you can have a quick access from your main hall to the garage door, it's easy to go, right? And it's hidden. No one can see actually what's happening outside because everything is happening inside. So no one knows how many people are in garage and what is stored in the garage. Why? Because you have a private connectivity. This is called the endpoint services. The same as we did with the VPC pairing, right? But now VPC, you do the pairing, but at different resources like VPC and S3, you will be having like a endpoint service. That is what you use your endpoint service. Adi manamu setup cheyochu. So we'll do it later when the time permits. Okay, that is what endpoint service is. Now another service which I want to talk is a security group. Okay, so security groups we little bit covered already. Why? Because we have been using the security groups, but we did not use it thoroughly. Okay, security groups. So security group is nothing but a number of ways you can enter, you can go out. Okay, in our same example that we discussed. So if you have like a VPC, okay, and you have your subnet here, right? So to enter this subnet, you will be having a VMs. So this VM again protected. Every VM is protected with a set of rules. What set of rules are? So they are protected through the security groups, SG. SG means security group. So if in a put in a proper shell, it is like a IP tables, firewalls in a Linux. So what do they mean? They mean like if you want to access this virtual machine, how many ways you can access it? How many ways you can access it? So if you want to talk to a person in the house, then you can talk to him through an email. Email is one way of communication. You can talk to him through a phone. That is another way of communication, right? You can also talk through a WhatsApp also. There's the internet way of communication. You have three ways to communicate. How about a kid? Do kid have a phone? Nope, because they don't have a phone. Can they check their emails? Nope. How they can access? They can only be called through the phone because they are protected. The same way security concept also here. So you will be protecting your VM based on the type it can communicate. By default, you will have SSH port open, that is 22. That is a way to securely access your virtual machine. So if you are running an application inside the VM, then it has more powers now. So the kid has attained 13 years age. Now you give him a cell phone. So with cell phone, he can connect to internet, and then he can check his emails, and then he can talk through WhatsApp, right? That's what the additional privileges you will be granting through security group. So we call them here inbound and outbound ports. Port means that way you can talk to your VM, you can access the services. Okay, that is what it is. Now I am going to have a security group created in our VPCs is this. So we had like our my VP security group. I select this. If you select it, you have a details about all your rules, okay? And then inbound rules. This is like an incoming. Who can access on which port? It says SSH port. The range is 22. That is the default range that can be accessed. But now I wanted to access on a different port. When do you do that? Only when this machine has that port opened. To your kid, if you want to talk to him phone, he doesn't have his own phone, right? It's useless. If the kid has a phone, then yes, you can give a call. So you need to allow that person to talk. That is what the security group takes care. Now let me go ahead and install a service in my security group. Okay, I'm going back public machine. Okay, I'll install a package sudo systemctl. No, not systemctl. Sudo yum install httpd. Okay, let's check this. I just installed a service. So this service will be running on a port 80. You want to see? Let's check it. So I'm going as a root now. So su minus. Okay. So all my files will be http etc httpd here. If I go to like conf.d directory, I have my welcome.configuration. Okay. I vim this file. So this is my configuration file that I have, and this is pointing my HTML here. This is my HTML, but I want my main configuration file where I can see on which port it is running. I go inside the conf. There you go, httpd conf. So here, if I type with listen, nope, type with port, no port. How about 80? Yeah, you see listen. It is listening on port 80. So this service is running on port 80. So let's check this. I saved this. Now let me start the service. What is the command to start the service? Start HTTPD systemctl. It is started. Check the status. So the systemctl status HTTPD. There you go. Maybe it is running. Now let's access. How do you access this service? So this HTTPD service running in application layer level, which you can access it through the browser. Okay. So I'll go to my browser. I put HTTP here, :// and then my machine. Come on, why it is so slow? EC2, EC2, EC2. So instances, just bear with me, guys. Machine is getting so slow. So this is my public VM, right? In which I install the software. This is my IP address. I copied this and then I'm going to access it. / port 80. So it is rotating. Why? Because you have a special service running, but you did not allow. You are just giving a phone without internet to your kid. But now you wanted to give him special controls. So you are going to allow the port here. So security group here, right? I'm going to edit inbound rule. I'm going to add a new rule, custom TCP, or which one you want to do? I want to do like a HTTP. Where is the HTTP? Yes, here. See, by default, 80 gets selected. If your application running on different port, you choose custom TCP, and then you can edit whatever you want. Okay, mine is 80. I choose 80. Who can access? So anybody in the internet can access. Now I save the rule. So if you access my machine with this IP, see, now I got the access. This is my website. It is running fine. Clear? So this is how you open up the security group. So security group is like a stateful. Stateful means if you allow a traffic on inbound 22 or 80, the outbound will also be communicated on same port by default. That is what the stateful is. Okay, this is your website, perfectly running, right? So it's up. If you want to access, we can also access my website page. I'm giving you the IP address. Now what happens? So your website is up and running, but there is a bad guy in Russia or somewhere. He's trying to hack your machine. He's trying to hack your address. So how you can block that guy? So if you bring your website down, then nobody is able to access. So how you can block that particular guy only? So what you could do, you could actually remove the rule, right? So once you remove the port 80 rule, it will not work. But nobody is able to access your website too. It impacts everyone. But how you can specifically block one guy that is trying to hack your website? To do that, we need to make use of NACLs. If you go to VPC here, you have a NACL. NACL means Network Access Control List. Those are all like a stateless. Stateless means if you wanted to allow the traffic, you need to add explicitly. If you want to block someone, you have to add it explicitly also. Okay, I go to NACLs now. I'm going to add a rule now. Okay, so for which rule? This subnet, right? This is my default VPC. Okay, inbound rule. So if you set the inbound rule, it has a rule number. So the one which has a least gets high priority. It is like a similar like our if else condition only. Whichever condition matches, it gets executed and breaks the loop, breaks the condition block. The same way, you will be having so many rules here. Whichever rule becomes true, it gets executed and it won't pass down to the remaining rules. Now I'm going to add a new rule here, edit inbound rules. I'm adding a new rule, okay, so which is like a 50. Now port range, so which port range they can block, so they can only block 80. So who? So I want to block individual, right? I'll be getting my public IP address, my public IP address. If you click this will give you your public IP address. I'm just going to copy this guy. And then block this one only, /32. So what you want to do, you want to deny the traffic, save changes. So now what happens? I blocked this guy explicitly. So inbound rules here. So my rule has 50, which is the least number, went to top. So the rule goes like this. So 50 rule first talks. If the traffic is coming from this IP address, then block that guy. Now let's give a try. So now this is my IP address, right? I'll access it. You see, it is still rotating here. It means it is not getting connected. Why? Because I blocked this IP guy because he's trying to hack me. So my network is not coming in. So NACL works on the VPC level. Security group works on the VM levels. Okay, NACL have to allow first, then only security groups receives it. So I blocked it, but still you can access my website. Why? Because I did not block you guys. Okay, so when you are writing NACLs, make sure that priority matters. Okay, so by accidentally, if you give this rule number 150, okay, and then save the changes, so you think that you blocked that guy, but technically, if you look at the rule priority, the first rule says what? All protocols, port range, anybody in the internet allow. So this will allow the traffic. That's it. It will not go down at all, because in the next line you blocked it. See, I got my website. You think you blocked it, but still it is not. You see, you added block here, but this guy is overwriting your next rules. So be careful with the rule numbers. The rule numbers have to be thorough. That's about your NSL. You cannot do the same thing with the outbound also. So subnet association. So if you don't want your subnet to be associated with this, you can remove it. You can also create another network ACL as well, and you can associate that subnet as well. So the way we did the route, right, we can do the same thing with NACL also. Okay. So now let's talk about, this is the NACL security groups together. So make sure that if this could be a troubleshooting step. Okay. People say that I'm trying to access my website, but I cannot. What will be the problem? Interview question. I'm trying to access my application, but I'm unable to access it. What could be the problem? Is the interview question. And the answer will be, we need to check if the port is open or not in a security group. We need to verify if application is actually running or not, and verify the number, which port it is listening to. Third thing is, we need to verify the NACL rules. If the NACL rules are accidentally updated to deny all the traffic. If so, then we won't be able to access our service. So these are 3 places I would be verifying it. And another way is, we can also verify whether it is accessible through internet or not. If it is, then we need to verify whether the subnet has the internet gateway route rule is there or not. These are the places I will be checking it. If there is answer, he'll select immediately. Okay, that's about your NACLs, and then the security groups, and then the, what else we have here? Yeah, there are so many other things which I am not quite sure what are all these. I think transit gateways are to connect your VPC in the cloud and then the on-prem services, I believe. transit gateways. Yep, this is pretty much what I know in the VPC, and I think I explained it well. So do you guys have any doubts on the VPCs, security groups, NACLs, and then integrations?
No, Lokesh.
Everyone, others? No? Perfect. So what is the next steps we have is like our EC2. So probably we will discuss EC2 okay, let me finish the EC2 also. I mean, are you guys fine if I go with EC2 or you want to stop? You want me to stop? You want me to continue?
Continue, Lokesh.
Everyone?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about EC2s now. Okay. So what is EC2? We almost little bit have covered this EC2 here. Okay. So what we are going to do now, so we'll be discussing two things today, the launch templates and then the EC2s. The remaining whatever we have, we'll be covering in next class because these are all important. It won't be able to finish in 20 minutes. Okay. So I'll create the launch instance first. So we have been creating this all the time, but this time I'll explain you in detail. So this contains your name. What is the name of your virtual machine you wanted to create? And this will give you the type of OS you wanted to choose. So you can pick any OS, whatever you want. Like you want to pick the Amazon Linux, this is given by Amazon, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, SUSE. The Amazon Linux and Red Hat will have the default user called EC2 user, whereas Ubuntu machine will have a user called Ubuntu. Okay, you need to log in with SSH Ubuntu at IP address. Okay, that's what the Ubuntu services is. And what is this AMI business here? Amazon machine image. AMI stands for. So AMI is nothing but, so if you wanted to create a machine, right? So you need an image. That image contains your pre-software. Like if you want like like 2 CPU, no, not 2 CPU. So AMI is that contains a package of your operating system. So let's say you want like a CentOS, or you want Red Hat, or you want Ubuntu. So generally you don't, but in previous, how we used to do, how I did installation of Red Hat is, I got a CD pack that has 4 CDs. So if I want to install a Red Hat in my laptop, I need to put CDs one after one. I put first CD and then boot my laptop, and then it installs some software. Then it asks me again, insert second CD, third CD, fourth CD. So after 4 CD completion, then I will have my operating system completely installed in my laptop. This procedure used to take like almost 30 to 1 hour. That is the operating system installation. Even for the Windows, if you want to actually install the Windows, it will again take service patches installations, drivers installations, configurations, everything will take close to 30 minutes. But nowadays, do you have that much of patience to wait for your operating system to be installed in a machine? No, right? So even if you feel hungry, you just want to grab some food from hotel and eat it. You don't have time to prepare the biryanis and cook and eat it. You do it only occasionally, right? When there is a time. But now in busy life, everyone wanted to be quick. That's what the image is here. So they have pre-built. So they are going to configure an operating system and then they put an image. The moment you say it, they just give it to you immediately with fraction of seconds. Because image is pre-built, you just need to start the booting process. That's it. It will automatically pre-configure everything for you. Okay, that's what the image is. You can also have so many other images. Like if you browse more images, right? You have like a many images. This is a quick start. This will give you what many people uses. You have like a Mac, you have like a Amazon, Red Hat, Ubuntu, SUSE, Windows, Debian and all. This is my AMIs. My AMI means, so Amazon is going to help you create your own machines also, images for your application needed. We will discuss this one as well. What is the marketplace? Marketplace means you want to configure Sonar Cube now. How do you install Sonar Cube? So you need a OS, you need a SonarQube package, you need to configure the configurations, you need to install the databases, you need to provide the proper keys and security authentication. You need to do all these. To do all this, you don't have expertise. You may run into some issues too. But what if you take this, which is pre-built? You just need to select that image. Then the moment it comes up, it will have your SonarQube installed and running. Isn't it beautiful? It is beauty, but you need to pay some money for this because it is being maintained by someone else. They are providing you offer. So they'll charge a bit more when compared to normal AMIs. Why? Because it is pre-configured everything for you. That is what the marketplace. So you can also create your own image and sell it. Let's say there is no AML of a LAMP stack. LAMP means Linux, Apache, LAMP. M means what? MySQL. P means PHP. So this stack is needed if you want to start your website. LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. It has all the tools installed, configured together. So you don't need to redo it. You just start your website. So that you can also create and sell it. If people need it, they will take it. Okay. This is community. Community means this is what I said. We can communicate. Let's say we have a bank, all the bank people are there. So bank people know that they wanted to secure the VM properly. What they do, they create a tool that actually scans the VM. Then they'll publish it. People can use it like an open source. People can use it and then enjoy it. That was the community. Okay. So now let's go to our quick start AMIs. So our AMI is like our Amazon Linux. Okay, I'm going to choose this. This is free tier eligible. I got it here. And then I need to choose a type. What is a type here? Instance type. Again, they also made it very easy. So based on your application size, so you may need like a 4x16 machine or 8x32 machine. Maybe you are running an application that does so much of like memory intense activities. Maybe your application is a CPU intense application. In that case, you don't need to worry. We can just choose the type, what type of your application is. So if you say like T2 means general purpose. Okay, if you are looking for memory, then if you can come down, you see memory is increased to 96, 144, 192, 192. This is like a C family. They call C5 family. And then you have like other families also, like M also is there. So based on the type. So if you want more CPUs, scan with the CPU, you see U family is giving you 448 CPU. So why do you need that much of CPU? Why? Because your application is needed. So if you want to calculate the distances between the, or if you want to calculate something with the this thing, like your satellites. Okay, how do you do satellites and telescopes and the images? They are huge, right? They're in GBs. You need so much of memory to load that thing. Even though if you talk about Google Photos, right? Google Photos, when you take a picture, so it does the artificial intelligence immediately. How does it happen? Everything happens on the RAM. If your RAM is not good, it will not do all those operations. Maybe it does on CPU as well, right? That's what it is. So ours is very basic now. We are using like T2 simple. I'll use T2 micro because we are trying to cheat AWS by using all the free services. Now key pair. So key pair, so SSH keygen minus RSA, whatever we do it. So this is what it is. So public key, we need to give it to AWS so that AWS is going to copy your public key in that users.ssh authorized keys file so that you can able to access it. Okay, I choose my laptop now here. Network settings, we just discovered it. We just edit this. You will choose your VPCs, subnets, auto assign public IP. So public IP means if you want to access your machine from the internet, you have to have a public IP enabled. If not, you don't access it. Security groups, we just discovered it now, right? You can choose security group. So let's say you are creating a web server. Web server is accessible only on port 443. Let's say And that case, you can just have one security group created with open inbound rule 443. Then you can choose all the time so that you don't need to work it on multiple security groups. Okay, that's what it is. Then configure storage. This is like a storage machine. By default, you're choosing 8 here, but if you want, you can increase as much as you want. Okay, if you want like 100 GB, you can choose 100 GB here as well. It gets connected. Okay, you can also attach new values, which we are going to discuss in the next class. That is the EBS. And then advanced detail. This is very important. In the advanced details, if you completely come down here, you have a user data. What this user data is mean here? So user data is going to contain a script, which is like a batch script that is going to run when your VM is coming up. So let's say I wanted to have a VM that has a vim wget and then the httpd installed automatically. By the time your VM comes up, these will be installed for you immediately. So you don't need to install them. This is what the user data is for. This script will be executed during VM provisioning. So let's say I'm going to run like this thing, bash, okay? Command will be sudo yum install -y httpd and then sudo systemctl start httpd. This is what you wanted to do it. So these two commands will be executed during VM provisioning. And then you have here number of instances you want. If it's check 2, 2 will be created. If it's 3, 3 will be created. This is what the VM creation. Clear? Any doubts on this?
No.
Right. So you can click on launch instance. It gets created automatically. Since we already have machines, I'm not doing that. Now let's discuss about the launch templates as well. What are the launch templates here? So launch templates, see whatever details we filled in, right? We have been doing this all the time, right? You might have seen, right? So I go to my machine, I put the name, and then I choose the T2 micro, and then I put the AMI, and then I put the key pair, and then I select my security, and then I select my networking. Everything's common, right? But what if you automate this template so that next time you don't need to fill in all the details? You just choose the template and you create it. So this is very quite handful when you are working with multiple projects. So one project needs always T4 micro, okay, and that has HTTPD installed, and it's in this security group. Now project B needs M4 large with these details. Project C needs C5 series with these configurations. So you can create a template. So next time they just choose the template and then select how many VMs they want. Boom, that's it. They don't need to again go back and rewrite all those steps again and again. That's what the template used for. Okay. Now I create a launch template here. Create launch template. So template name. So this is like my free series, right? I would say T2 free services. Okay. And then template version, you can put whatever you want. Auto scaling, we'll discuss it later. And the template tags, if you want to put a tag, you can create the tag also. I'll create the name. Name by default gets created, I think. I would say T2 free services. Okay. And then source template, it's the first time I'm not using any source here. You see OS image, which OS image you want. Okay. So you would say quick start. And then I'm going to select all the Amazon Linux. Okay. And then what type of hardware you want? This one. Bit 64 architecture. Instance type, I always want like a T2. So where is T2, T2, yeah, T2 micro. And then which key pair I use all the time? I use my laptop key pair. Network setting, where you want to create, I'll be creating this in my public subnet. Okay, security group, I'll be using the existing one. Sorry, existing one here. Drop down, this is my security group. And then an advanced network configuration, we don't need values, tags, advanced details. I want whenever my machine comes up, I want this to be installed. /bin/bash sudo yum install httpd -y because auto approve sudo systemctl start httpd. I am starting the service. That's it. You can also create a touch file also, touch home EC2 user slash created during boot.txt. So this will be executed. Okay, now let's create the launch template. So template is created. So now if I want a new VM, what I can simply go, I go to my dashboard. Okay, if we can drop down, it is not coming up. It will take some time, I think. We'll refresh this. Still not coming. Let's check our template. Is it ready to use? Yeah, it is ready to use. I go to EC2 dashboard again. I think it's cached. Let me refresh this once. Yeah, see, launch instance of template. Now it's enabled. If you select it, it will give you the template that you want to create. This is my template. And then you just click the launch and that's it. So you don't need to fill the machine again and again all the information because it gets populated automatically for you. Just launch template, that's it. The machine is created. See, it's that easy. You don't need to fill data again and again. Next time again you want one more machine, select same, launch instance from template, choose a template and then launch the machine. How many machines you want, you can just select it and then launch instance. That's it. That's how easy it is, the launch templates. This is very useful with our auto scaling group. We'll discuss this tomorrow. Maybe we'll discuss on the EBS, EFS, and then the load balancer target group. So this may probably take maybe on Sunday we'll cover this, but Saturday we are going to cover the EBS, plastic IPs, and then the EFS on Saturday. You see, it's coming up. That's what the launch templates are used for. Clear? Okay, any doubts on this? What we have covered so far?
No, Lokesh.
Perfect, right?
No, yeah.
Cool. So if you guys have no doubts, then we can wrap the session today here. And then next Saturday, we will meet again. Next Saturday is like a long. Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear.
So next weekend is like a long weekend, right? So July 4th is long weekend. So how do you guys want to cover? So long Monday is actually a holiday. July 4th. So what do you want to do? So like Saturday, Sunday, can we meet or not meet? Any plans for long
Actually,
weekends?
yeah, we have plans, but I don't know about others.
Location, what about your plan?
I don't know it. I need to check with my wife. She rules all the weekend activities. I don't have controls over it. So
Okay,
long
this,
weekend. Okay, let's do one thing. So maybe on Wednesday, Thursday, we can finalize. Is it fine?
yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Can
Okay.
we do on weekdays? Maybe.
Weekday is not possible. I have office, right?
Okay.
Weekday I have office, so I can't make it. So weekend only I can do it. Okay. Weekday also we have other people doing the office work and some other work as well. So I don't think so they are comfortable working it. So we can only do like I will discuss. So let's discuss this on the Wednesday and I verify. Okay.
Yes, sure. Can.
Perfect. So Wednesday we can discuss. Maybe Vijay will communicate to you guys on the further status. So
Yes.
now whatever you have created, make sure that delete it immediately. Otherwise they will charge you anything. Okay. Don't forget that. Deleting your VPCs, your machine, subnets, NACLs, internet gateway, NAT gateway. Okay. So they may not, they have dependencies. When you're trying to delete the VMs first. Okay. And then delete the subnets first, and then route tables, and then the internet gateway, and then VPC. Okay. Perfect. Cool, guys. Then so let's talk to you on next, hopeful next week or weekday. We'll confirm it on Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
probably I'll be needing your email address one more time. I'll see who is missed because I'm going to keep the videos in private now. because other people are actually getting benefit out of that. So they are not joining the class saying that they will get access to YouTube. I'll put them in a private and they'll share it with you guys only. Okay. I'll probably ask whoever email is missed for me, I'll grant them access to. Okay. Perfect. So that's what for today's, and let's talk to you on Wednesday in the WhatsApp. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
then.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Okay, Lakesh. Thank you.